Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. My nose is a little sniffly. I'm getting cold Friday night, sleeping under that cold air, but that was what happened. It's clearing up, though. Doesn't sound like it, but it is. But talking about my sinuses, they are clearing up, thank goodness. So it never was too bad of a sickness. But anyway, I did two challenges last night to close out the bourbon series for now. Did too many challenges. That was a little too much. I was a little over exuberant, I should say. That was my mistake. Wasn't planned like that. Just worked out a little crazy. But I did finish 9-1-1. But I was happy about that. 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie. So that was a great success. And I didn't think that I would be able to do that because I didn't have the impression that G&W bourbon was that different from the other ones. And it tasted very similar, but there was some little something in it that tipped me off that I was able to get it right 9 out of 11 times. And like one time was a tie. I called it a tie, but I ended up getting it right when I said, let me just see, just to check. So it really could have been, if I wouldn't have done that, 10-1, but it still was successful. Now, how is this going to work out? I don't know. I've got two Canadian blended whiskeys, and they're both from the Sazerac company. They're produced in Canada, either at the Sazerac Canada Distillery, because they have a distillery up there in Montreal, or they're produced by somebody else and then just sold to Sazerac. It could be one of those two cases. I don't know the details, and I'm not going to ever know, I'm pretty sure. But this is Royal Canadian. Now, it's funny because if you try to look up Royal Canadian on the internet, it always keeps bringing, these search engines now use all this artificial intelligence. They'll keep routing you to Crown Royal. It'll try to make you say you're looking for Crown Royal, but you're not. You're looking for Royal Canadian. So artificial intelligence isn't that intelligent. And it's like that for years. It's hard to track it. But they used to have a web page for this. Sazerac used to have a web page, but no, not for a long time now. They revamped their website and they dropped all their lower end brands off the website. So now it's just produced and they don't promote it. It says it says right here, bottled by the Sazerac Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. And they're emphasizing Canadian, like Royal Canadian, imported, Royal Canadian, blended Canadian whiskey, distilled under the supervision of the government of the Dominion of Canada. Product of Canada. Okay, we get it. I say it so many times. Now, I bought this bottle. It was $8, believe it or not, $8 at Discount Depot in Marrero, Louisiana. And I've only found it in that town, Marrero. Can't explain why. I found a half-size glass bottle in Marrero. That was $5. And then I found this full size for $8. And it does have brown glass, which protects it from the light. Yes, light can damage whiskey, not too easily, and not like beer. Beer will go bad under, or get a bad smell under light. But yeah, brown is better. It's got that typical Sazerac, sort of their cheap whiskey bottle, which is tapered, and then it has this lip at the bottom. They use this for a lot of their products. It's not the only Sazerac bottle they have. They have like about 4, maybe 5 standardized bottles. Okay. This is, no, yeah, I didn't put the age statement. Let me double check on this. I don't think it has an age statement, but I could be wrong. Let's see. We love to hear from our customers, Sazerac.com. No, there's no age statement. This is Canadian Lake, introduced in 1992, and it has the exact same label as Canadian Leaf. There's another Sazerac brand called Canadian Leaf. Yes, that was introduced in 1961. Now, why a company? Now they're showing the little lion wearing a crown, holding a leaf, maple leaf for Canada, and that's the same thing you see on the Governor General's flag, the representative of King Charles III, King of Canada. And then they have a crest which shows different symbols like, well, the maple leaf, of course, and then like a flag of Scotland and a little bird, look like a little blackbird. I don't know what these mean, if they mean anything. They just tried to make it look heraldic, like heraldry or something. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. That doesn't mean much because Canadian whiskey is allowed to have flavoring added. And if you read the current regulations, they don't even have a limit on it. Years ago, I would look up Canadian whiskey regulations on the Government of Canada website, and they would say, Matt ZZ says, love you. Thanks again for everything. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. Without the viewers, there's no channel, right? Really. The old regulations would say you could use these flavorings, had to be natural flavorings, but like they would list it. You could use wine to flavor whiskey. True story. You could use bourbon, which is American whiskey. You could use rum, brandy, all kind of stuff. And then the wine had to be aged in oak barrels and all of this stuff. And it couldn't go above a certain percentage, which was like 9.09% of the volume. That's a pretty high amount for flavoring. So people would rag on Canadian whiskey, it's a bunch of flavored junk, and stuff. Okay. But if you look at the new regulations, and it'll say updated, it was updated just months ago. I haven't checked in months. Might have been updated this week. But the last time I checked the Canadian regulations, there's no age statement. I'm going to put no age statement. Last time I checked the Canadian regulations, there was no limit. There was no like top end, or you can't go above this percentage. And it didn't specify what the flavorings could be. So, okay, so both are 40% alcohol, non-age stated Canadian blended whiskeys. All it says in the regulations, the last time I checked, was it has to be natural flavors, so you can't use artificial flavoring. And that's it. That's all it says. Canadian whiskey, that's the regulations I read. Canadian whiskey may contain natural flavors. It doesn't say they have to contain it, just say it may contain it. And they don't have to disclose it. So any Canadian whiskey you drink or purchase may have flavoring added. There's a chance of that. Whether that bothers you or not, I don't know. I guess most people don't care. I mean, look how popular Crown Royal is. Okay, so this is another one of those standardized Sazerac bottles. I call it the diamond bottle because it looks like it's got diamonds or cut glass or whatever, or molded glass. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it looks kind of nice, but it's cheap plastic. That's enough after last night. That's enough. Even look, this product is so low end. Even if you get the 750 milliliter bottle, it's plastic. So they do not spend a lot on this. And it's bottled in Maryland, by the way. It says bottled at Oak Park Distilling, Maryland. But I don't think they do any distilling there. It's really a bottling plant, from what I could tell. Somebody said it went out of business, but they didn't provide any kind of evidence of that. And I still find new bottles that say Maryland. New bottles that aren't old. So how did it go out of business? You know what I'm saying? How did it go out of business if you find fresh bottles saying bottled in Maryland, like that Club 400, that's a big brand up there in Baltimore, Club 400. Gin, brandy, vodka, whiskey, so forth. Cheap stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's celebrated like some great product, but they all say Maryland, bottle in Maryland. Hello, Jay. A mix up for me today. Zubrovka vodka with limoncello, 9.1 out of 10. Have you? Oh, I've never heard of that stuff. I've heard of limoncello. That's Italian, like lemon liqueur. I've had that. Have a nice Tuesday. You too. Okay, I went a little too low on this one. Now, the Royal Canadian does not say flavored, but like I said, that doesn't mean anything because they don't have to put it on the label. But it doesn't taste like it. It does not taste like they're adding flavoring. I could be fooling myself. But it just doesn't taste like it. It's like Crown Royal. When you taste Crown Royal, it does not taste like they have any flavoring in it. Maybe they do tweak it a little bit just to smooth it out or something. I don't know. And you could find out in a way because you could write an email to the company, which I'm not going to take the time to do. Oh, daylight. How do you like that? You could write an email to the company and you could ask them, I'm inquiring, does this particular brand contain flavoring? Now, if the distiller tells you point blank, no, it does not contain flavoring, then you'll know it doesn't. Now, if they evade the question and say, well, we don't disclose, we don't want to get into that. Okay, then you'll know it does because they're trying to dodge the question. They're not lying. Lying would say they don't have it and it does. They're just dodging the question. And, you get a pretty good idea that it has it. Or they might just openly say, yeah, it's got flavoring. Now, Sazerac, they're not going to hide it. They'll just tell you it's got flavoring. I mean, they don't have any shame about it. They'll put it right on the bottle. So that's telling me that this is the clue I have. It's not complete evidence, but they don't put it on the bottle. You see, this one does not say it on the bottle, which to me is indicating that it has the flavoring. That it does not have the flavoring. Sorry, mixing myself up. It does not have the flavoring. Now, I noticed that the Royal Canadian was a little darker. So the Royal Canadian's more copper, not copper, though it's amber, but more toward copper. And this one is pale, almost like straw. It's amber, though, but it's, yeah, a little lighter. I'd like to show you the website, but I can't. I could show you photos of Canadian Lake, and you'll notice that the bottle is identical, except instead of saying lake, it says leaf. Or leaf, it says lake, vice versa. I don't know of any other liquor company that does that. It's very strange to make two different brands of Canadian whiskey with identical labels, except for one says lake, one says leaf. Bizarre, right? Is it the same whiskey in two different labels? That's my impression. But once again, I cannot prove that. Now, I asked Sazerac on the phone. I was on the phone with Buffalo Trace, and I said, do you ever take like the same whiskey and put it in different labels? Oh, no. No. The lady said, our bourbon. Now, she was careful. She said, we never repackage bourbon under a different label. Each of our bourbons is a different recipe. I said, okay. Notice how she answered the question. Our bourbon. She didn't mention any other liquor products. She didn't say vodka, Canadian whiskey, American blended, nothing like that. She said bourbon. But she did bring, know what? Let me retract, because she did bring up Kentucky Dale, which I wasn't asking about blended. She said, even Kentucky Dale, she said, yeah, she was using that as an example. She said, look at Kentucky Dale, our blended bourbon. That's what she called it, blended bourbon. It's really a blended whiskey. It probably uses bourbon as its straight whiskey. She said, that's very popular, right, around New Orleans. I said, yeah, it is. She said, that's a specific recipe. Only Kentucky Dale uses that recipe. It's not some repackaged. I said, okay. So, all right. And I'm not saying that they're using the same Canadian whiskeys and repackaging them. I'm saying I get the impression that that could be the case, but I could be totally off base with that, and it could be each one an individual mash bill and recipe. I doubt it's very different though. I mean, they taste very similar. So if it's different, it's in a minimal way. You see, in a practical sense, they're not different. Let's just look at it like that. In a practical sense, you could barely tell them apart, and you'll put yourself through torment in a sense, trying to differentiate Sazerac Canadian whiskeys one from another. Not in this case, not in this case, because Royal Canadian has a unique flavor, a little bit harsh. When you taste it, you kind of wish they would have put flavor in it because it's very woody and very bitey. My daughter said, "Wow, yikes." Or yuck is what she said, yuck, when she first tried it. But as she kept sipping on it, she said, "Oh yeah, it's pretty good." It just kind of shocked me. Pretty good. She didn't say nothing about great. Neither did I. Okay. Tommy Carroll says, "Morning, Louisiana Liquor Reviews. Good luck on your intentions. Prayer for the Pope." Some of what you wrote, I don't understand the way it's written, but yeah, prayers for the Pope. Yeah, we've been praying for the Pope. He's very sick. See, when you're old, elderly like that, 88 years old, that's very old. A common cold, like I got a little cold here or whatever it is. Yeah, no big deal. You know, it's already clearing up anyway. But at an elderly person could catch a little cold and it could kill them. Kill you, because they're already, their immune system is weakened, their body's weak from age. That's why a cold, viruses like the big virus 5 years ago, wink wink nudge nudge, say no more, most of the people killed were little kids, but not kids. That's right, it didn't make them sick too much for some reason. That was strange right there. It was elderly people. And they were saying this old lady was doing great, 98 years old, bedridden, and then she caught it and died. Well, she was bedridden. How was she doing great? You know what I'm saying? Whereas most people caught that, it was just like a cold. I caught it like a chest cold. Strange virus, right? Okay. Smells a little bit like almond extract, as John and Neil describes it. And this smells like wood, corn and wood. That's what it smells like. I can still smell, thankfully. Taste time. Whew. My friend David would say vanilla. I would agree with that. John and Illy, another friend, would say almond extract. I would agree with that. Could it be both? Yes. Could it be neither one of those and just, confusing what I'm tasting? Yes. But we know it's natural flavor. It has to be natural. And I get a kick out of this when I'm watching beer reviews and they're saying, "Oh, it has natural chocolate. This stout contains natural chocolate." And then the person will say, "Well, that's fake. That's artificial. Natural chocolate isn't real." And I'm saying, do you know what the difference is between artificial flavoring and natural? I'm saying this in my mind. I don't tell them that. You could easily read about it on the FDA website, Food and Drug Administration. They have a long paragraph or like a little tutorial. What is a natural flavor versus artificial? It's very specific. No, if it was fake, it'd be called artificial flavoring. All right. And it's like you can't get it through their heads. Yeah. This tastes like corn and wood. Corn, rye, and wood. Could it contain a little wheat or a little malted barley? It could. See, I didn't turn the lamp on right. You know why, huh? Because I'm trying to let the outside light come in. Dawn, you get it? Dawn busters. So which of these tastes more like true, unadulterated whiskey? The Royal Canadian. All right. Tastes like very much like Crown Royal. Now, somebody told me one time, oh, they just copied off of Crown Royal. They stole the name. And I was like, well, how's that possible? Royal Canadian was introduced in 1934. Crown Royal didn't come out until 1939, 5 years later. So that's not possible. It's just that Royal Canadian never really caught on to be a big product, and it's not a big product. I've only seen it 2, maybe 3 times in Louisiana. You see it around here, there, not too much. You're definitely never going to see an advertisement. You're not going to see a television commercial. You can guarantee yourself that. I saw a Crown Royal television commercial the other day watching sports on television, a baseball game or something, like, at college base. No, it must have been basketball, huh? Yeah. Well, yeah, Crown Royal is going to have television commercials because it's the #1 selling Canadian whiskey in the world. It's actually the #1 selling whiskey in Louisiana of any type. And that's been the case for like 5 years. Yeah, I know you're going to say, why would people buy Canadian whiskey when they can buy Louisiana whiskey? And maybe for the same price. I don't know, because they love it. That's why. Most Louisiana whiskey drinkers never tasted Louisiana whiskey, although it's right there on the shelf. And I am one of those people. I've tasted a couple of Louisiana whiskeys. They tasted fine. Took no issue with them. But I can't criticize other people if I haven't done it either. And I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying that's Crown Royal is the king. It wears the crown because it's the king of whiskey in Louisiana. I cannot speak for other states, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the top whiskeys in every state. As a matter of fact, they were getting ready for the fish fry yesterday, buying all the ingredients and everything, during Lent, fish fries. And they said, we buying the crown. We buying the crown. The big jug of crown. And the guy buying it, one of the Knights of Columbus members, said, are you ready? I said, I'm ready. He meant, are you ready to drink Crown Royal Friday during the fish fry? Yeah, I'm ready to drink maybe an ounce or 2. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't care what they do as long as they don't burn the shrimp or the fish and they get the portions correct and that everybody, the customers, are satisfied. And that they don't get in an argument or something like that. All right, but I'll be satisfied just to drink a beer, which in that case will be a light beer because that's all they ever have over there at the Knights of Columbus. They'll say, go get a beer, go get a beer. It'll be Bud Light or Coors Light or Miller Light. That's it. That's or Michelob Ultra, That's what they love to drink. I tried to get those guys to try other beer. They'll try it. They don't really like it. They'll humor me, oh yeah, that's interesting, oh yeah. And I can see on their face, it's like, ugh, I'd never drink that. Even though it might be a good, expensive beer, but, no use fighting that. They would never stock these two ever at their bar because they have a bar. That would never happen. Nor would they give it a chance. It would be Crown Royal only. And they do have a bottle over there of Crown Royal Black because some of the members do like to drink the Crown Royal Black, the 90 proof Asian charred oak. It's very much like a bourbon. Well, all of these Canadian whiskeys are very much like a bourbon because they're made like a bourbon. They're mostly corn. They use a little rye to spice it up, and they'll top it off with some barley, malted barley whiskey, or as they say in Scotland, single malt. Give it a little breadiness. You say, well, that's just like bourbon. Yeah, I know. Except many times, most of the time, Canadian whiskeys aged in used barrels. They'll keep using the same barrels for years, maybe decades. No knock against that. That's a tradition. But as you know, or if you don't know, bourbon has to be aged in new charred oak barrels. They can only use the barrel once for bourbon. Now, they could use the barrel 100 times for other stuff, but only once for bourbon. Okay, so any bourbon you ever buy in your life, any bourbon that you ever buy in your total life, you can guarantee it's aged in a charred oak barrel. Guaranteed. And if it's straight bourbon, you can rest assured it's aged at least 2 years. You say 2 years, that's not long. I know, but that's the law, 2 years or longer. And it will have no flavoring, no coloring. No flavoring, no coloring. Okay. So purists gravitate toward bourbon because of those reasons. Most of the people in the council are not purists. Now they asked Father David, they said, what, because they were going to buy liquor. So they said, what do you want, Father? What do you want? Oh, he said Elijah Craig. And they'll write on it with a magic marker, this is for Father David only. They'll write it with a marker. And I don't know why he likes Evan Williams. Elijah Craig, I guess he enjoys it. But like I know he's not going to ever deviate. You know what I'm saying? He's going to always stick with Elijah Craig, that certain version of it, which I think is the base version. Never going to deviate. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it seemed like you would want to try different things. To me, I would want to try different things, but no. Dirty Dighty. Hey to you. Good morning. All right, so I can tell them apart. Even with my sinuses like this, thankfully clearing up. Now I'm going to go mow the lawn today. Probably make it worse. Not going to bother going to parades because they're starting in 15 minutes. They got to run them fast because of this windstorm coming up. So it's going to be a kind of a dud Mardi Gras. But of course, a lot of people be down there, and there's a lot of people that do Mardi Gras all day and never go to a parade. They have marching clubs. They march around. It's sort of like a parade. And they're going to be in. My daughter said, we don't go to, she's at Mardi Gras. She said, we don't ever go to the parades. They go to other events down there in the French Quarter. There's all kind of stuff. It goes on till midnight tonight. So, it's not like, I would say a lot of people don't care if they have the parades because they're not going anyway. They're going to do the other events. So, yeah, all right. But all the children will be upset because they love the parades. Naturally. Almost went. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. You should make a name like Liquor Enthusiast, something like that. That's what I would say. Liquor Enthusiast. L-E, Liquor Enthusiast. That's a better one. Liquor Enthusiast. L-E. That sounds better. Personally, I prefer the Royal Canadian. Better flavor, not jacked up with flavoring. Just real authentic. Is it better than Crown Royal? I don't know about better, but it's not worse. It's not worse. So why would I pay $23 for Crown Royal when I could get this for $8? Simple answer. I would not do it. I would buy this. Except I can't get it. I just found it, stumbled upon it. And that store I went to that I bought it from that never restocked it. They sold it, never restocked it. Why is that? Because it probably took them 15 years to sell the 6 bottles. So obviously you're not going to stock something that nobody buys. So final story on this. I could easily tell them apart, although I never checked the labels. And I would definitely, if I had access to it, and like I just said, I do not, I would definitely buy this over standard Crown Royal because of the price, not because of the flavor. It's just that it's even, it's even, and it's way cheaper. Now, I wouldn't say that for other Canadian whiskeys. Would I buy Canadian Leaf over Crown Royal? No way. Would I buy Canadian Hunter over Crown Royal? No way. Would I buy Rich and Rare over Crown Royal? Yes way. Now, there's your answer. There's the secret weapon. There is your clear and present answer. You say, I want to I would not buy Rich and Rare over Crown Royal. I would not buy Canadian Limited over Crown Royal. Burley Sullivan says, you. Hey, Burley, cheers back to you. But now the truth can be revealed. You want a competitor to Crown Royal that's much cheaper? Buy Rich and Rare Reserve. Not regular Rich and Rare. That's jacked up with flavoring. Rich and Rare Reserve. It says R&R Reserve. It has an embossed glass bottle. It's a beautiful bottle. And it's $9.99 at some stores. $9.99 at some stores. Except that the handle is plastic. Now that's a rub against it. Crown Royal, you buy a handle of Crown Royal and it's glass and it has a big glass handle. It is pretty, you got to admit. But I mean, $9.99 versus $23.99, or $22.99, $23.99. I'm sorry, I'm buying the Rich and Rare every day, all day. And I know people that tried Rich and Rare Reserve. Remember, Reserve. They never went back to Crown Royal because they're getting the value. There's your value. Now, of course, it cannot compete against Crown Royal Reserve. Now, Crown Royal Reserve will run you $40 or more. So Rich and Rare Reserve doesn't stand a chance against that. But, you know, I don't ever see anybody buying Crown Royal Reserve once a month, maybe. It's way better, but they don't buy it. Okay. Got it. Yeah, that was easy, but it's not going to be so easy down the road. When I do all these other Sazerac Canadian whiskey with natural flavor items, it's going to be rough. I'll probably get it wrong half the time, so it's a toss-up on that. Now, against all these other Canadian whiskeys from other companies like 40 Creek, ain't never going to mix that up with it. The Gibson's Finest Rare, ain't no way I'm going to mix that up. Yeah, those are unique. But McAdams, I wouldn't confuse McAdams with it. But all these other run-of-the-mill Sazerac, which are not bad. I'm not slagging on them. They're just not that great. That's why I said run-of-the-mill. They're mediocre. They're just all right. Those are confusing. All right, enough talk. 32 minutes, too long. Thanks for tolerating it. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye. Have a good Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody.